recalling a superstar that got his neck broken in a match against John Cena from the Armageddon pay-per-view in 2004. Rene Dupree said on his podcast that Jesus, for those who don't remember, he was Carlito's bodyguard, and Cena broke his neck actually. There was a spot where he kicked him in the head that legitimately broke his neck. I felt bad for him because, he broke his neck. He was out for 5 or 6 months, and he was from San Diego. Speaking of William Regal, Jim Cornette had this to say about his interview with Tony Schiavone explaining why he betrayed Jon Moxley. Even Regal was not up to making this make sense. He was like, I realized the Blackpool Combat Club didn't need me, but I needed to show them why they didn't need me. At one point in there, he destroyed every bit of credibility he had. He uttered the phrase, Wheeler Yuta can be the best wrestler in the world, and immediately heads all over the globe exploded. William Regal also recently took to Twitter to send a message to fans following reports of a return to WWE, as he wrote, there seems to be a lot of news about me getting spread around. There's enough people who really know me, although there are few, as trust is a big issue with me, who know the truth. Unless you hear it from me directly, it is at best second-hand information. Revealing that he underwent knee surgery, Sting told the KNC Masterpiece that I just had surgery 6 or 7 weeks ago now, basically just a clean out on my very old knees. I've seen those that went through the physical therapy process with flying colors, did what they were supposed to do, and worked through the pain versus those who did not. And those who did not, they never recover. The game never comes back to them. I know that is of the utmost importance. For me, I had to do things differently in the ring. I had to prepare differently, train differently, think differently in the ring, and come up with more innovative ways to accomplish my goal. When it comes to a rumor regarding WrestleMania plans for Roman Reigns, Steve Carey of Ringside News wrote that WWE has a lot of plans for Roman Reigns. We've heard the rumor that the company is considering him wrestling on both nights of WrestleMania. We can confirm that no real talk of that happening ever took place. With Matt Riddle recently being written off WWE programming for 6 weeks, it seems there could be a specific reason for this. As Cassidy Haynes of BodySlam.net noted that, sources have told me that the reason that Matt Riddle failed a drug test leading up to SummerSlam, this was also the last test under Vince McMahon's regime. With Vince no longer in charge, a new creative direction was taken regarding Riddle, and his big match against Rollins was postponed until Clash at the Castle. Additionally, I was told that the company informed Riddle at the time that another failed drug test would result in a rehab or fired situation, similar to what happened with Jeff Hardy previously. With him stepping away as chairman and CEO of WWE earlier in the year, it seems Vince McMahon has more lawsuits coming his way. According to the Wall Street Journal, McMahon is refusing to pay settlements. In a November 3rd demand letter to Mr. McMahon's representative, a lawyer for former wrestling referee Rita Chatterton asked for $11.75 million in damages after she publicly accused Mr. McMahon 3 decades ago of raping her in a limousine. Mr. McMahon has long denied the allegations. The demand letter was reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Mr. Clune, Ms. Chatterton's current lawyer, said in the demand letter that Ms. Chatterton had passed a polygraph and that multiple sources corroborated her account, 2 of whom confirmed to the Journal that Ms. Chatterton contemporaneously told them about the alleged. John Wisniewski, who wrestled as Greg Valentine, told the Journal that Ms. Chatterton disclosed the allegations while the two were sharing a marijuana cigarette in a Marriott hotel parking lot in Albany, New York in the 1980s. Mr. Wisniewski said he didn't believe Ms. Chatterton then or now because he didn't think she was attractive enough for Mr. McMahon. Leonard Inzatari, who went to wrestling school with Ms. Chatterton, said in a magazine interview published earlier this year that Ms. Chatterton was shaking and crying as she recounted the alleged while the two of them stood outside the ring before a 1986 WWF event. Mr. Inzatari said in a call with the Journal that he stands by his comments and believes her allegations. In a separate November email email to Mr. McMahon's attorney, a lawyer from a former spa manager said that Mr. McMahon assaulted his client in 2011 at a California resort, an incident previously unreported in the media. Mr. McMahon has told people he refuses to pay settlements to Ms. Chatterton and the former spa manager. People familiar with his comments said. WWE's auditor has advised the company that resolutions of the claims, even if confidential, would possibly have to be disclosed by the company publicly, said a person familiar with the matter. The LLP didn't respond to requests for comment. The spa manager reported the alleged assault at the time to the resort, according to people familiar with the matter. The spa manager also told her husband about the incident. Some of these people said he drove to the WWE event with a baseball bat and tried to confront Mr. McMahon, but was turned away, according to these people. The woman's lawyer, Michael Bressler, has been in touch with Mr. McMahon's attorney since at least July, according to people familiar with the discussions. California, like New York, has a new law that allows alleged victims of sex abuse to file lawsuits that would otherwise be barred by the statute of limitations. Starting in January, victims will have a 1-year window to file such claims. Responding to a story of Vince McMahon intending to make a WWE comeback under the belief that the allegations against him and the investigations would have blown over if he stayed in the company, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful wrote, "Numerous WWE higher-ups that I've spoken to in recent months have indicated to us they want nothing to do with that and are happy with the direction. I haven't heard one person there itching for a Vince return. I should state they wanted nothing to do with a Vince comeback. We not discussed him telling people that he planned to make one. Done done was the phrase I got often." Going into more detail on this situation, it was reported that Fightful immediately heard from numerous staff and talent within WWE. One WWE talent called the news exhausting and was hopeful that Vince McMahon's WWE tenure was in the rear view, despite them having a positive relationship prior to McMahon leaving. Another said that they were concerned for the talent that got rehired in the event that Vince McMahon were to return. A higher-up that we spoke to wasn't nearly as concerned. Said higher-up mentioned that the stock price increased, viewership was boosted, and general morale recovered after Vince McMahon left. It would be a really selfish move for Vince to come back under any circumstances. The reason he left, how business is done since then, it'd be really selfish. But selfish activities are what led to him leaving in the first place. The source said that they did not believe that Vince would return, despite having voting power within the company. And with this talk of a return for Vince McMahon to WWE, a petition has been created on change.org to prevent this, with the description saying, "Vincent Kennedy McMahon earlier this year was entangled in a web of deceit and scandal. He was put under investigation, which involved money and women. This image could have forever stained the company and brand known as WWE. He decided to step down in every aspect of his position. Since his departure from the company, employment has increased, revenue has increased, and overall enjoyment and become a watchable product again in grand scale. Vince McMahon stepped down so his company and brand can thrive under his daughter Stephanie McMahon, and Paul Levesque has done so tenfold. Keeping Mr. McMahon away is best for his business. Help us achieve by showing we don't need him running the show anymore. The WWE company and brand has proven to be in good hands. Let's keep it that way. I mean this with all due respect to what the McMahon family has done in sports entertainment." While many have been brought back under the Triple H regime, it seems there could be some issues, as WrestleVotes reported. I'm told a handful of talent brought back in the rehiring wave over the summer have underperformed and severely underwhelmed Triple H and others since returning to the company. Giving an update on Jeff Hardy's DUI trial following his arrest in June in Florida, PW Insider noted Jeff Hardy is slated for a pre-trial hearing related to his DUI-related charges in Florida next Wednesday, December 21st at 8:30 a.m. Based on court records, Hardy is required to appear before the court for the hearing. Hardy filed a written plea of not guilty filed with the court on June 28th. Hardy's attorney waived his right to a speedy trial and requested a hearing originally set for this past July to be pushed back 60 days to assist in his defense. months. Hardy's scheduled hearing last October was then again pushed back, following a last-minute motion from his attorney that noted Hardy's attorneys recently provided extensive mitigation materials to the counsel for the state and that the parties require additional time to negotiate a potential pretrial resolution. So it would appear that the two sides are working on a plea agreement that would prevent a trial. While Shawn Michaels is busy with his duties on NXT, it seems that Kevin Owens is interested in facing HBK, with it reported that Michaels told Owens that he'd be lying if he didn't think about doing another match, especially when he saw the kind of match that Steve Austin had with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania this year. However, he also said that he doesn't think he should. AJ Styles had also once pitched a match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania that got turned down. Michaels did come out of retirement for a WWE Crown Jewel tag team match that he told numerous people was the biggest payday of his career. Fightful's Jimmy Van had actually heard the one match number for that was in the neighborhood of $3 million. During an interview with Forbes, Saraya noted this in regards to those in WWE talking about AEW, saying, "When I was backstage in WWE, I didn't see people talk about AEW. People were just happy that there was another place for people to go. When people would get let go in WWE, we'd be so devastated for people. It would be like someone just died or something like that." When Muse TV asked about a potential return to AEW programming, Miro said at the Disney Plus National Treasure Edge of History premiere that "It's not up to me. I'm doing everything I can, and from then on, I'm just sitting and waiting for the opportunity." It was previously reported that Miro had turned down plans for a comeback that would go through Full Gear, as it was originally rumored there was no creative for him, which turned out to not be true. Speaking of possible returns, Charlotte Flair, who was last seen in WWE at WrestleMania Backlash, losing the SmackDown Women's title to Ronda Rousey, would post a video on her Instagram story that featured an hourglass, as this could be an indication that she is ready to make her return to WWE. With reports of Sasha Banks making a Wrestle Kingdom appearance in January for New Japan, an update was provided on her previous contract status with WWE. It was confirmed to Fightful that Mercedes' WWE exit was negotiated months ago, likely when Raj Giri of Wrestling Inc. reported as much. However, WWE has yet to officially confirm this, and she remains listed on the company's official website. It was also reiterated to us that Sasha Banks was able to take wrestling-related bookings on January 1st, something that Fightful Select reported this past fall. When we asked if that was contractual, we were told that it was, and were informed that WrestleCade was far from the only wrestling-related operation to make attempts to book her, with the big event being another convention that those close to her claimed was interested. We've also heard that some conventions even tossed around the idea of rebranding themselves as entertainment conventions to get around the technicality of being a pro wrestling convention, in hopes of booking her before January 1st. Ultimately, that didn't happen. When it comes to when Sasha Banks can wrestle for another company, Dave Meltzer said in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE directly wouldn't say anything about her, but those in the company over recent months had said the sides were not close on money. She and WWE reached an agreement in the summer regarding her leaving, and the agreement was they would release her to be a free agent rather than freeze her deal. She couldn't do anything with wrestling until the start of 2023. In the fall, with the regime change, she was back in negotiations to return, and it was considered that it was close to a done deal, aside from the money figure, and the two sides ended up being far apart. Adding to this, Meltzer would note that Banks wanted a deal similar to that of other top women's names in the company, saying Sasha was said to be seeking a number along the levels of Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, and those internally have said she wasn't offered numbers close to that. They said that she's not seen internally as somebody who would be on top for the next 5 years, but is seen as someone who could get a singles or tag team title run, but has peaked as a star aside from the reality that was acknowledged that if she would return, there would be a honeymoon period where people would go nuts for her. In a quick update on Naomi, who walked out of WWE with Sasha Banks over the summer, this was said about a potential return to the company by the Wrestling Observer. Nothing has been said about her. We were told that she has to make a decision. Staying on the topic of AEW, it appears the look of the program is set to change. As Meltzer mentioned in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the company made a major hire this week with Michael Manzeri as the new Senior Vice President and co-executive producer, with Tony Khan going forward. He started on this week's television. Part of the deal is that WBD and Khan had decided to change the look of the show. The plan changes are to go into effect in January at some point. Manzeri worked for WWE from 2009 until quitting the company in May 2020. He got promotion after promotion and was named Vice President of Global Television Production in 2016. With him starting his own promotion, Control Your Narrative, prior to his return to WWE, Braun Strowman would note that he still owns it in an interview with CBS Sports. The biggest thing was another avenue for people to go and do what they love. It was all financed by me and EC3. All the money that we ever made, which wasn't much, we put right back into the company. I was a firm believer in making sure if you wrestled on one of our shows that you got paid, because this industry is so cutthroat. A lot of stuff with this pay your dues BS that everybody wants to say, and that pay your dues is lining some promoter's pocket on your hopes and dreams and broken back, which I get it. I mean, that's business. But I wanted to give an avenue for people to do what they love, hone their craft, be able to make some money, travel around and have fun. At the end of the day, this should be the absolute most fun job you could ever have on earth. We get to travel around the world and fight with our friends and make money doing it, and how could you not? It's every 5-year-old's dream, and it was just an opportunity to try and help others live theirs. And unfortunately, like I said, it's something that I still own, CYN. EC3's still doing some of them, so who knows what's gonna happen down in the future, but right now, I'm so blessed to be back home. I love WWE, I love the WWE universe. I've said this time and time again, I'm a firm believer that God put me on this earth to do this. I'm back where I belong, I'm home. It's good to be back, and I can't wait to keep making memories for the fans for many more years. When it comes to who made Shawn Michaels aware of the adult content being put out by Mandy Rose, it was said in the Wrestling Observer that, according to those close to the situation, Matt Bloom informed Shawn Michaels about content on Rose's fan time subscription service that had gotten more racy of late. While not confirmed, there are those who believe Rose was making more money posting photos and making custom videos for subscribers that contain nudity. While WWE in the past had marketed its women and was responsible for many posing nude in Playboy, that was in a different era, and what they found out about crossed what they considered the allowable line, given they had promised television partners and sponsors a family-friendly product. She was live streaming and getting tipped, and at one point, according to someone viewing the video, said if she wasn't tipped $400, she would end the stream. In another, she told her streamer to message her about what they want her to do in their custom videos. There were also multiple nude shots of her and her fiance, former WWE wrestler and NFL star Tino Sabatelli, in sexual positions. When Michaels found out earlier in the week about the new content, the NXT television show was rewritten, and Rose was ordered to drop the title to Perez. She was fired the next morning. Supposedly, she was blindsided about it. In a quick update on WWE's plans for Cody Rhodes when he makes his return from injury, the Wrestling Observer said that there will be more talk about Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes soon. Talking about plans at the show of shows for WWE, Steve Carrier of Ringside News reported that the road to WrestleMania is starting very soon, but no matches have been made so far. We are told that WWE Creative is currently pitching alternatives for Roman Reigns' match at the show of shows. Speaking about Chris Jericho's previous run as ROH World Champion, Jim Cornette noted this on his podcast. Does anybody else see that it is coincidental or just amazing how this worked out? That Chris Jericho got to defend the ROH World Championship against and defeat in the middle of the ring a different former champion of some description every week on TV for 6 or 8 weeks. On national cable television on TBS with, at least by their standards, a lot of people watching anywhere from 750 to 900,000 give or take. But when it comes time to drop it, oh, I'll be happy to drop that title to Claudio on a Ring of Honor secondary pay-per-view that may not be seen by 75,000 people, much less 750,000. Revealing why the Rusev Day run between Miro and Aiden English was squashed in WWE, Road Dogg said on his podcast. So it's yes, we saw it. Yes, we saw Rusev Day getting over. I honestly don't know what happened to Rusev Day. One day we were pushing it and the next day we weren't. Honestly, when I say we weren't pushing it, it didn't go away. It didn't just disappear. We just weren't doing anything with it anymore. Every time I would pitch something, it would get shot down. So I don't know what happened. I'm not going to say anything because last time I said something, I got a phone call and I'm not going to have that happen again. But honestly, I don't know what went down that all of a sudden we stopped running with it because it was going really well. I think it was getting over, and I don't know if Vince was a fan of Aiden English. I feel comfortable saying that. I don't know if he was a fan of Aiden English. He's a great singer. He's a great wrestler. He's not a beautiful man, but neither am I. Well, look, his body looks like everybody else's. Just he's not tanned and he looks like me or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, he just looks different. And I don't mean nothing bad by that. You can't say nothing nowadays without having to qualify it with everything. God, the dude is not good looking. What do you want me to say? And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.